Okay, I have 1 o'clock on our devices, and so I will open the regular meeting of the Beavercreek Township Trustees of April 11th, 2016. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have an agenda in front of us. Do you have any additions, deletions, modifications?
Yes, Board, I have one. Under Township Administrator, I'd like to add schedule a special meeting to discuss the park agreement.
Okay, and I would like to delete approval of the regular meeting minutes of March 28th, 2016, and request the Township Administrator to see that we have a verbatim transcript that we can approve for the minutes at the next time it's available.
Mr. Graff, if the board, or if the, under the fire department, if you could add special meeting for new hire, please.
The what?
For new hire, special meeting
Okay.
for new hire.
Okay. Any other changes?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as modified?
Second.
Mr. Kretz,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Graff,
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the April 13th, 2016 payroll in the amount of $265,771.88.
Second?
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Kretz,
Yes.
Ms. Graff,
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $131,795.94.
Second.
Mr. Kretz,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Graff,
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting held February 22nd, 2016.
Second?
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Kretz,
Yes.
Ms. Graff.
Yes. This is the time of the meeting where you're open to citizens desiring to speak. Seeing none, we'll go on to old business. No old business, no new business. Mr. Zaharia.
Thank you, Board. In your packet, starting on page 3, is a board and commission policy. I put it in the packet just for review. I am going to not ask for a recommendation. We found just a few typos and mistakes. One line that needs to be removed and a couple typos I want to fix before presenting it. But wanted to see if you guys had any questions or recommendations in regards to the board and commission policy.
Why are we adopting one since it comes out of the Ohio Revised Code pretty much, and you've copied some of the information into here from the code. I can see we say something like no employee shall be on the zoning commission because it might be a conflict, but the duties are pretty much described in the code.
That's correct. So the duties for the zoning commission, the Board of Zoning Appeals, the Ohio Ethics Commission, and some of the other Ohio Revised Code is available online. However, we don't provide that information on new members that are either on the commission. This would be a packet that they would receive, kind of explaining the details and whether they're on the zoning commission or the Board of Zoning Appeals. They will be able to see what their duties are. There are some provisions in there in regards to that are not in the code section in regards to members that are maybe absent long-term, and also an acknowledgement letter is a letter from the board welcoming them to the township and whatever board they serve on, whether it's a zoning commission or board of zoning appeals. But also there will be an acknowledgement letter that they received it, they've read it, they understand it.
I did notice there was something that said if you missed 3 meetings, then you might be off the board, and that is something new.
Yes, that would be something that we, as a township, would ask. so that if we do have someone, now, everybody has schedules and we understand that, so, but if it's not just, you know,
Without
really
cause.
excused, yeah,
Without
excused or
cause.
not
Okay.
caused.
Should be unexcused,
Yeah.
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 So.
I think that should be
Sure.
delineated there, because it just said missed 3 meetings, and I didn't see where it said, excused.
Alex, you made comment to something, but I didn't see it in the packet as far as, I think, like Ms. Graff said, much of this is already available to them if they were to pull the revised code and read it, but I guess the most important piece is you do have them signing something acknowledging that they did receive it?
Yes,
Okay, whether they read it or not, they were given the opportunity to.
Right.
Okay. And I think it's more from an ethics standpoint and to make sure that it follows those guidelines.
Okay, they get a book with the resolution. Would this be like the
this would
beginning
be a
of?
part of it.
Part of that.
Be part of their binder.
Yes, this would be a part of their
You know, and-
binder.
And again, I think it's important for them to know what they're signing up for.
That's
I
correct.
mean, it's not just, it is a volunteer position, but I mean, I don't know that I missed more than 2 meetings in 10 years. So it's a commitment.
Yes, it is.
So
Okay,
when
so
you come back with this, the final, will it be a red line so we can see?
Sure,
what you
the changes,
changed,
there's
yeah.
just a few that we discovered on Friday that,
Okay, if you could do that as a red line, it
Yeah.
helps.
Sure.
Thank you. And then a clean that we can approve.
Yep. Thank you, Board.
Okay.
Next item starts on page 13 of your packet. This is a private-public partnership between Country Club of the North and the township. This is an agreement that, similar to some of the other agreements we have in regards to some of the shared services. In this case, we feel that there is an opportunity for the township to partner with Country Club of the North, which is a private establishment and private streets. But this would allow them to save some money to get in on our competitive bidding in regards to paving and some of the other projects that we have. It also allows for, if needed, during could be heavy snow, a wind event, or severe weather event, if their contractors could not come out, they can make a request to the township and they would reimburse our costs.
And then we would do it after we've completed what we need for the jurisdiction, and then that would be similar to what the city.
Yes.
We take care of our roads first, take care of whatever needs to be done first, and then if there's availability.
Now, we've been working with Country Club of the North, and we've reviewed, Mr. Parks has reviewed at length their bid process, and we think we can save the residents of CCN a lot of money on their next paving project.
Are they able to participate in the county program as far as the bid process for pay?
Yes.
Okay. Even
Yes.
though they're,
It'll be through the township, so
Okay.
we would,
it would be a bolt-on.
There'll be a
to ours. Okay.
subcontractor to us.
Okay, that's what I was, but not individually. Okay.
no, it wouldn't be Country Club of the North, we would submit the list. So, for example, if they were doing 2 streets, that would be part of our list. And then, once that's awarded, they would reimburse the township for that cost, or pay it directly.
Okay, and as far as salt and things like that, do they have their own storage barn?
Yes, they did.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so.
It's
are
not
we
as large as ours, it's smaller.
Are we proposing that we would let them add on to our salt orders as well, and things like that, or we've
Yes.
not gotten that far? Okay.
Yes,
And then.
That's all inclusive in here then?
yes.
Okay, that's the de-icing. Okay.
One thing I didn't see was, and maybe I just didn't read it, or maybe I missed it, I should say, is as far as if there's a call for service to the township, because their contractor either is unable or whatever reason, where does our liability start and end as far as damage to any of the surfaces that are private roads? I don't see it in this agreement.
Well, because it's governed statutorily, I think under 2744 in terms of
Do we-
maintenance of roads is a governmental function, so you have immunity except for negligence issues.
Do we need to state that though, or at least reference that in here somewhere, just as far as, so it doesn't become my concern is we go in, we plow, in good faith, we there's a discrepancy on whether there was damage there before we plowed or not. I think obviously if we damaged something, we would probably fix it. But I guess my question is if there's a discrepancy, if something was damaged before we plowed, if they came back and said, hey, that wasn't there, is there anything that, I'm just asking. So.
We can certainly add something.
Yeah,
It's usually not, I hit the mailbox, it's laying in the yard that's the problem. It's when the ice melts,
Gouging
there's
the
damage.
street.
And then the question was the damage there from the week before when they plowed or when we plowed? Because you don't see it till the snow melts.
Okay.
So,
yeah, we can put that in there.
Yeah,
just a recommendation.
we'll bring that back as well.
Okay. Otherwise, I think
In,
it's a good
in
idea.
principle, it sounds like a great idea.
Yes, after we met with them and we've had 2 or 3 meetings with them, it's definitely, I think, something we can provide to the residents of Country Cove of the North and be cost savings to them as well.
Because they are residents,
They
and
are.
they do pay into
They are.
the
Yep.
road millage, so this would be a relatively easy way to see that they're getting some benefit,
Yes.
in addition to all the other roads on the outside of the plan.
I think it's,
Very
it's, as stated though, we're not providing any more service than we're already obligated to. It's not that there's no special agreement here necessarily, is that
No,
correct?
this is just gonna be on those times where there's a call to service
Yeah.
and their individuals, their companies
That's
can't
right.
get to it.
And
That's
that's new.
And that would be a snow event, I forget what he said, over 6 inches or something like that?
Yeah, it's either like a snow event or a wind event. And we would provide a time and materials cost to them, and they would agree to that before we would ever do any work. So we're gonna recover ours, but we're also in the same time helping them out, probably at a cheaper cost.
Okay. Alex, we're gonna, just for, and I appreciate that, when, on the YouTube videos, it is almost impossible to hear.
I was just writing that note to bring
So
it
we,
up later.
just if we can,
Yeah, we'll make sure everybody.
everybody, when we talk, if we can come up, or we need to bring a
We need
microphone
to-
back there, one
Yeah,
or
we
the
need
other.
I do have a wireless mic up here, sir.
Okay,
It's turned on right now.
all right.
Well, what I did notice, especially this last time, you could tell where the mic was at.
Yeah,
So you have to move it.
okay. Otherwise, great, thank you.
Thank you, Board. Next item in your packet starts on page 15, and it's the Sheriff's Office bi-weekly report.
I'm sorry, one other quick question
Sure.
on the Country Club of the North. Is there any other HOA situation like that where else are there private roads that we're not plowing
In the town.
in the township? That's it, right?
That's it. That's the only ones I know of.
Even Wood Ridge is township roads.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, on page 15, your packet begins the Sheriff's bi-weekly report, and then on page 19 starts the monthly report, and at the end of the monthly report is also the year-to-date report as well. The major from the patrol section will be at the April 25th meeting to answer any questions the board may have, talk about the trends in Beavercreek Township and any other issues regarding law enforcement activities within the township.
I had no questions.
Yep.
Me neither.
Good information.
Thank you, Board. Next item is on page 42, is the Finance Department's bi-weekly.
You wanted to do the special
Oh, I
meeting?
apologize, it's on my other list. Yes, I'd like to schedule a special meeting to talk about the park agreement. I did send you the management-only agreement that the board asked at the special meeting from
Yeah.
the city of Beavercreek. They did provide that. So we would like to sit down with the board and discuss all the options on our next step.
When I gather the city council passed it or agreed to it. Okay.
What week are
Do
we
you
looking
have?
at?
If everybody's available, maybe the 18th, which is next Monday.
Okay.
Is there any way to tie it to our next meeting, either an hour before or I'm just
At the
asking,
end.
or at the end?
The end would be better.
That's fine with me.
The 25th.
25th.
Are you here?
Well,
No.
Ms. Graff will be.
That's good. Who else gonna
Or
go
could we
on?
tie it to the special meeting for the new hire?
Or are you
potentially?
gonna have a new, yeah,
Could we do the 18th?
Is that when
So
you're
We,
heading for the hiring?
that would
Jeff,
be
would
one
you
of our
be able
options,
to,
yeah,
you think
certainly.
it's an hour or a half hour is enough, or what do you think
I
of the
think,
special?
I would,
For the,
do
for the
an
special
hour.
meeting?
To
yeah.
make it 3 or 2:30 on the
3.
18th, which would be prior to the next request for an additional.
That's what I was asking Mr. Roberts, if you're not available, 12 to 1 would not work for you on the 25th?
Yeah, I would prefer later on, or the 25th?
Yeah,
Well, they're gonna ask for one on the
No, the
18th.
25th, I'm good. I can, the 25th works.
right,
The
you're gonna do a
18th.
hiring on the 25th?
On the
On
18th.
the
Well, we're
18th is
looking
on
to
it.
potentially do a special meeting on the 18th if you're
Ah,
available.
okay. I'm
We
sorry.
got 2 special meetings.
The week of the 18th is just rough for me, but that's,
This
If we
week
have
is-
to go to the 25th, we can certainly do it as part of the regular
Okay,
meeting as well.
whichever is better for you, either of you.
we do
I
it
can
before
do
and
it.
after on
Yeah,
the
we could do
25th.
before for the,
I mean, not to jump ahead, but does that, I don't want a shortfall. I mean, if you
Yeah,
need
I mean-
you need an employee.
At that point, a week is not
Okay.
gonna be a huge difference, so.
Okay,
okay, so we'll do an hour before for the park agreement and then,
okay, so that
After
would be
the-
at noon for the,
So the 25th is gonna be basically noon to 5.
yes,
Yeah, but we'll have cake at the end, so.
Might have to have it before.
have snacks.
Okay,
thank you, board, I apologize on that.
thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, board. The next item is on page 42 of your packet is the Finance Department's biweekly report. No questions?
I had none.
Mm-mm.
Thank you, board. Next item is on page 44 is the Human Resource Department's biweekly report. Are there any questions?
Where are we at with Xenia?
Fact finding.
They'll be going through the fact-finding process.
As far as the, I guess it's a hybrid of the finance, the human resource, and the administrator. As far as the personnel records that were extracted or pulled out of the finance office or suite and given to the administrator, have those been re-cataloged?
We are
Where
going
are
through
we at
that
with
right
that?
now.
Okay. It's my understanding there was a pretty good volume of those
Yes.
records.
yeah.
Okay. But everything is out of finance and given to the administrator at this point.
As far as I know, it wasn't really handled.
Okay.
Okay.
Who did that extract? Who pulled those files then?
They were in my office when we got back from the special meeting.
Okay. Was that Ms. White or was it
No,
Ms.
Ms.
Aaron's?
Aaron's did it.
Oh, she did?
We
Okay.
didn't have anything to do with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good. And they're in your office or they're in HR or,
They're in my office.
okay.
Okay. Very good. Zoning?
Thank you, board. Next item is zoning biweekly report on page 46 of your packet. As you can see, we still see a lot of activity in the township in regards to growth.
Moving up slowly. Okay.
Thank you, board. Next item is IT report starting on page 50. Are there any questions?
Had none.
Nope. Okay.
Thank you, board. Next item is road department. The first thing we have on the agenda is a replacement of air conditioner at Station 63 in the communication room. The budget justification starts on page 53. There's your purchase request.
Was that the original air conditioning unit? Maybe you need to come.
actually, the building was originally built, it was limited equipment, so they were relying on the building HVAC. As they've added more equipment, they went to a portable unit that lasted probably 7-8 years, and now it's went out. And as we progress with technology, we thought this was probably the best option to actually put something in there that's designed for those kind of operations.
Okay. Is this one of our alternate sites for our servers?
Yes.
Okay,
It's the radio communication.
radio station, okay.
So this is a standalone condenser unit for that room.
Just for that one.
Okay. It must be small.
I think it's about a 10 by 10 space.
No, I meant the tonnage as far as for the price.
It's a one-ton unit.
Yeah.
Split system.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Parks? Okay, a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve purchase request 00366 to Able Heating and Air for the replacement air conditioning unit for Station 63 Communications Room in the amount of $4,780 and to authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
I'll second with a question. As far as extended warranty, do we typically get the extended warranty on these or not?
I do believe this one comes with a 5-year
On the compressor?
on the compressor,
Okay.
1-year parts and installation.
Okay,
But at that point, it will fall back under our PM contract a
okay,
year from now.
okay, okay. I learned the hard way on two of my own, on a commercial application where if it was a Lennox unit, I don't know what brand you bought, but if it was on a Lennox unit, there was a form that had to be filled out within 90 days of the installation. And if that was filled out, you actually got an extra 5 years on the warranty from Lennox on parts, but not labor. So the first 5 was whatever you had negotiated. And it was one of those things where if you didn't fill out this postcard and get it back in, so if the contractor didn't give it to you to fill in, or then you missed it.
That's something we could check.
I'm just throwing it out there. I learned the hard way, so I didn't do it.
Thank you.
You can call.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Kratz,
Yes.
Ms. Graff.
Yes.
Thank you, board. Next item is the bi-weekly report on page 59.
Will that portable one be? Is it scrapped or are you going to put on gov deals? Do we have to do anything
It
to?
is, I think, scrap.
Okay.
That's something we'll follow up because
Okay.
with the Nathan.
I didn't know if we
If
need to
it's operational, we will try and put it on GovDeals.
if we need to surplus it. That was my only question. So
I don't
okay.
believe at this point it's operational, it's dead in the water.
Okay.
Any questions on the bi-weekly report on page 59?
I had none.
With all the rain, where are we with Factory Road and how high is it getting?
Haven't had issues so far.
Very good. That's very good news.
What were the stormwater concerns that you addressed with the
Currently,
residents?
3 ongoing. One is in the
Hunter's Point.
Hunter's Point, and we're kind of working through that one. One is on,
Turfland, South Turfland.
South Turfland. I'm trying to remember the third one.
Rolling
Oh,
Meadows.
the third one, actually there's 4. Rolling Meadows is one, and we sent a letter to that gentleman again. And the last one was in Colony up off Indian Road. This kind of helped the homeowners understand drainage and all that, and kind of work through the process.
Not necessarily anything, it's things they may or may not be doing to mitigate it, needed to mitigate it, not a different situation from what we've experienced.
Well, there is one, and I think Mr. Zaharik and I are going to go out and look at it. It's a design flaw from back in 2002, and he has a legitimate problem, so we're going to try to help him as much as we can to rectify that.
I'll retract my no questions comment. On the library, when will we be ready to move forward and
roof
fix that?
Actually, I got the 3 quotes back late last week. I'm just waiting to hear back on the pull test, and I apologize.
I was there Tuesday. No one was there.
Thank you. 'Cause I got tied up with the drainage complaints and lost complete track of time.
Okay.
But I'm just waiting for those results to come back, give us a firm number, so hopefully by next meeting, if not before.
But did they do the pool test Tuesday?
Yes, they did.
Oh, they weren't there the whole time I was there.
Well, they came in early in the morning, I know, because somebody from my staff met them up there, but they weren't gonna come back till like 2 to actually do the test. They did
Okay.
that warmer weather.
Okay. So, but you're thinking by the next meeting, you'll be able to come forward with it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Board. Next item starts on page 60 is the Fire Department's biweekly report. Are there any questions?
If the chief wants to come up to the podium here.
Do we have a scope yet as far as, I know you've got the presidential debate on here, so, but as far as the additional scope that's gonna involve, I mean, the pre-planning,
We
the
have a
event,
tentative,
and then,
that will kind of get hammered out as we move closer, so the Secret Service and the debate, committee, I can't remember what the committee is, have said tentatively, here's what we're looking to accomplish. It is in the city of Fairborn, excuse me, and on Wright State, so they'll be the 2 lead agencies, and we will provide mutual aid. Tentatively, they're looking at 4 units plus command support. The 4 units would include probably 2 medic crews, an engine, and the communications unit, as well as, like I said, some command support at the command post. But that's subject to change at this point, so we're waiting to see what they want. Oh, and they could go, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention.
okay.
So that would be our worst case at this point.
So we'd be deploying our communications unit, and that would be the primary.
Potentially, yes. So
Good.
obviously, the Secret Service travels with their own
Correct.
equipment. We would be looking to fill in the gaps between the responding agencies. Now that we're all on the MARC system, that is simplified dramatically. Right Pat's involvement is one of the complicating factors. So as we get closer to it, they'll know more what the specific needs are, and then be able to address them. We may be able to do with static resources and not need the command, the communications unit itself, but we don't know yet.
Okay.
So we'll keep you informed as we get closer to the specific request, and obviously there'll be an overtime potential, but we should be able to handle that within the board's prior direction, so I don't anticipate it being an extra, other than it will be kind of one-time anomaly in the kilogram.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have any comparable numbers from, is it 4 years ago, 8 years ago, whenever it was,
8 years ago.
8 years ago, how much time it was involved?
Probably nothing comparable. I could dig up what we did, but our involvement was substantially different than, we didn't have an operational component per se last time.
Okay.
We did not have medic unit staff. And it was just a single party speech. It was not a debate, so there was
Correct.
a bipartisan aspect. So fundamentally it was different, although, and I think it was all exempt employees that were involved, so the overtime component was minimal, if at all. So it would be substantially different.
If those either pre-event or post-event press conferences drift across the street to the hotels there, is there, how soon, I mean, how advanced, we're still Fairborn at that point? I mean,
It is
there's
Fairborn.
areas along there, but
Yeah, it sounds like right now.
I should say
all
across
of
the highway, if they
Yeah.
come over to the Hilton Garden Inside or anything over
Oh,
there.
that
Well,
is
I think
Beaver
all
Creek.
the formal events are slated to happen on Wright State property. So everything official. There
Okay.
could be unofficial events that would occur potentially in northern Beaver Creek, absolutely. And tentatively, we've not been made aware of anything that requires special planning outside of our normal operational responses. If that happens, so we'll certainly keep you apprised.
Okay.
There potentially will be planned events by the networks where there will be watching parties and get direct feedback as the debate's going on. That was the meeting I attended from the committee chair, but we don't know those yet, whether it's,
Okay.
and those will be the national networks that will be doing that and those locations. The
This
advantage.
would be civilian events also.
Yes, those would be civilian events off-site. But all the press conferences and media will be in the McClin Gym at the Nutter Center, which is one of the advantages that I think the press is really like, because they'll be indoors as opposed to other ones in the past that will be intense outside. So, but there are also other events leading up to it. There's some discussion about food trucks and events like that leading up to it. And
Right.
once we get all that information, we'll send it to the board.
Probably the best summer is if you can avoid that area of town for that week.
Stay home.
Yeah, for more than one reason.
You can see better on television and anything.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, I have all your statistics here, and I did, thank you for your, whatever you gave us here, these various charts. But I'm not sure exactly what each one means.
I'm working on building those out, so if there
Okay.
are specific questions I can answer, I'll be happy to do that. If there's specific information that's not included that you would like included, I'll be happy to do that as well. So this is part of I'm doing a much more in-depth analysis of our projections now that we're nearing the end of our 10-year funding plan. And so this is our part of that, making sure that we can project out our anticipated expenses, our anticipated revenues, and verifying where we anticipate those lines crossing.
Like, I didn't understand why the cash balance was going up, as the year went on. Usually,
Well,
except when
that's-
the money comes in.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can't see it because we're at the breakover, but it is
Okay.
on the way back down, correct?
Yeah.
According
I
to-
did like the one that showed the revenues versus the expenses. I thought that was, you see when the spikes come in, but you see how the expenses pretty much are even, except for a few anomalies here and there, and I assume that's major equipment that we bought or something of that sort. So, it was very helpful. I'm not sure exactly what the other blue balls are that the up and down, but you can have other explanations.
I will include a lot more verbose description of those, yes.
Okay, I appreciate that, because graphics make it much easier to describe to whomever it is looking at it. Thank you. And then you wanted to set a special, well, we've already set it for you
Already set that.
essentially,
Okay.
4 o'clock on the 25th,
If that is good for the board, I
and
greatly
it
appreciate
will be a what, 1 hire, 2 hires?
One hire, yes.
One hire.
So the resignation of Mr. Blanton is effective as of today, if I recall correctly. And can I remember the gentleman's name? Justin, what's his last name? Richards is our candidate that will be completing the final part of the hiring process leading up to the 25th.
Okay. Very good. Any questions from the board?
Do you want to set a specific time at
It's 4 o'clock. Yes, I thought.
And if this regular meeting is over at 2, you'll just come back here?
Right, well, they will,
So 12 o'clock
And
and
if
4
it's,
o'clock?
if it's not finished, then we'll suspend it, I guess, correct? That way, because you'll have people here waiting,
yeah.
Yeah, that would be great if we could.
one way or another.
12 o'clock
If we
and
can
4
set a
o'clock.
time, that's ideal. If not,
4
we can
o'clock.
have them here earlier.
Well, is 4:30 better than,
I would say 4 o'clock will work.
4 o'clock is fine?
Four
That's fine.
o'clock works.
They'll talk fast for the rest of the meeting. I'm not gonna be here.
Pretty
so
certain
it'll be
we'll
fast.
be here.
Thank you, board.
That's all I have.
Okay, legal advisor.
Nothing at this time.
Trustees, did you have something to?
I had a couple things. One was just an update. Friday was the first meeting of the governance committee
Okay.
that you asked me to participate on behalf of the board. And so Mr. Zaharieff was there, Mr. Cornell was there, and Mr. Stone was there. And so had a good, positive first meeting. The objectives, essentially, we kind of reviewed those. So one was that we would hold a regularly scheduled meeting between the city and the township. 2 is that we would seek shared service plan for all duplicative services, it's a long word, provided to the community, and seek opportunities to enter into cooperative ventures with each other as partnering neighbors. So it was a positive meeting. Mr. Stone asked that he brought up that there was interest from council of having a second council member participate in the meetings, and quite honestly, I didn't see an objective to it. I said I would bring it back to this board. When you do the math, it doesn't really give them more of a seat at the table or more say at the table. In fact, it may be the opposite. It may actually help, if we come up with a good idea, to help get buy-in from the broader group. So I didn't see an issue with it. We obviously can't have more than one, or else we're holding a meeting. They could have two and not be violating that sunshine law. So.
And most you're bringing back recommendations and comments from the committee. There are no
Right.
decisions that are going to take place there
No,
anyway.
it's a workshop.
So if
essentially.
they want to have,
Right.
I see no problem with having an additional
I
council
just wanted to
member.
bring it back, so I didn't see. So, Mr. Zahari, if I can pass it on to Mr. Stone, and if you want to echo that to Mr. Cornell. But otherwise, it was a good first start. We limit it to an hour to try to keep it as productive until we get the ball rolling and come up with some ideas. So, but it was really to take things like the fuel service agreement and where can we build on that? What other things can we do? You know, take things like that. But obviously, parks will come into play as they had before. So, it was just a real quick briefing on that we had the meeting and get this board's buy-in as far as the additional member of council joining in. So, the second thing, I don't want to exhaust this too much, but I had hoped that Ms. Boykin could be here today. The article that ran on Saturday, April 2nd in the Dayton Daily that was headlined, "Trustees Strip Fiscal Officer of Department." I guess I would just like to go on the record for stating how misleading and incomplete, and in some cases materially false this article was. I did send a rebuttal to this article to the Dayton Daily, to the Xenia Gazette, and to others, and I've distributed that as an open letter to the community to anyone who wants to read it. But I brought the article with me today, and I highlighted some things that are just flat out wrong. For starters, the headline of that article read, "Trustees Strip Fiscal Officer of Department," when in fact that did not happen. That was not what occurred at the meeting. And anyone that watches the YouTube video or reads the verbatim minutes from that meeting will understand that was materially wrong. The first sentence, township trustees have eliminated the financial department under the elected fiscal officer by terminating her staff. Per the organizational chart, neither of those individuals actually report to the fiscal office. There's a working communication and what appeared to actually be functional, but that first line was materially wrong. The next paragraph said the 3-member trustee board unanimously approved a series of resolutions this week that slashed the salaries of 2 employees in the department by almost half. In fact, we did not slash the salaries of the 2 individuals that work under the township administrator. What we did was, in response to Ms. Aaron's request for 2 new positions which have different job descriptions, we went out and we surveyed 77 townships, and we took the responses we got back and we calculated based on the job descriptions, the duties, the due diligence that the board performed, and some of the information that came out of my public records request. We put that together, compared it to Bureau of Labor Statistics, and came up with the salaries. So again, we did not slash her employees because they do not work for her. So again, it's just materially false. Another portion of it where Ms. Aarons was quoted, I don't know if she was actually quoted incorrectly, so I'm going to skip that one because the Dayton Daily has horrifically misquoted me multiple times to the point where I've told them I will only respond by email. I won't respond to them verbally anymore, so I'll skip that one just for Ms. Aarons' benefit because she may have been misquoted. And I apologize, Mr. Barone is sitting here, but there was, I don't apologize you're sitting here, I apologize that I'm going to say your name. there was a piece where it said the Township Finance Director, Jim Barone, annually earned a certain amount, and as of January 1, the trustees reduced his salary to $40,515. Again, that is materially incorrect. We set a salary for the new position that Ms. Aarons requested under her department. Same principal problem with the next paragraph. There was a quote in here by Ms. Aarons supposedly that said, "I'm still shocked and feel outraged these two employees who've been recognized in the past as exemplary employees, with both being chosen as Beavercreek Township Employees of the Year in 2015. That award was actually for 2014. Chief Merckx was awarded for year 2015 for his help in correcting the FLSA issue and the outstanding effort and extra time he put in for the township. So the last statement, which again I don't know if she actually said or not, but it says, in the article reads, "I feel the board's decisions on Monday are a disservice to the community." That was per the fiscal officer. And in fact, I feel quite the opposite. I feel that the board did what they did in response to a ludicrous request that had not been researched. There was, if due diligence was put into it, it was a terrible disservice to the community. So my letter is out there for anyone that wants to read it. I will send it to anyone. I will hand it to anyone. And it does state fact. Some of it is unpleasant, and that's unfortunate. There are two good human beings that are impacted by this, and I say that because they are human. And whenever I've done this in my past in the private sector, there's a human element that comes to play, and I don't take that lightly. So I appreciate the time to speak and to say my mind. Thank you.
Mr. Roberts, anything?
No, my only comment I have is we touched on it earlier with the microphone in the back. I don't know if we just have the one wireless mic or if there's ability to get a couple. I mean, I think that would be very beneficial.
Right. Or
That or just a
anytime any one of
rearrangement,
our
yeah.
staff members is going to make any comment, to come up, make
Right.
sure they're talking into the mic so that it's on the recordings that we then put on TV so everyone can hear, and anyone who's listening to the tape itself, just the audio tape, will be able to hear a full description. Okay.
Did we ever as a board, I'll just ask this, did we ever as a board decide or vote officially if we need to vote? Maybe we don't even need to vote officially, but the letter to the auditor that was written and was read into the record at the last meeting, did we ever vote to put that on our website? Is it out there? I don't know, Mrs. Zahara, do we need to vote to do that? Did we do that? Is it there? People have asked me where they can see that without doing a public records request.
After watching the meeting on the 28th, you did not vote to do that.
Okay, if we are going to have a verbatim transcript of the 28th meeting,
Sure.
then it will be part of that.
Okay.
I see no, your statement also will be part of that, because
Okay.
it's going to be.
People have asked for that, so.
If it's easy enough to upload the letter, because that was something that was put together within the township,
Well, think
I
we
see
should
no
probably
problem to put it up there.
Yeah, I think we should put the upload of the letter there with the information that went along with it.
Okay.
So should we vote on that?
Do you need authorization
Yeah,
or just?
I mean, if you're looking.
I'm in agreement with it, so. if
I
you-
see no
yeah.
problem with it. It's
I
a
have no
public
problem.
record, we can put up there so our people can see what it is. We have nothing to hide. Okay. At this point, I have executive sessions, and do I have a motion?
Was there anything from the fiscal officer?
I expect there to be.
Well, she's not here, so I didn't.
No problem. I just didn't know if she sent it over.
Yeah. So are we good to move forward?
Yep.
I make a motion that we move into an executive session under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1 to consider the employment, dismissal, discipline, and compensation of a public employee. Also under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G5, matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations or state statutes. And also under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G4, preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
Second.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Kretz,
Yes.
Ms. Graff.
Yes. Do you have a motion to come out of executive session?
I'll make a motion to come out of executive session at 4:45 p.m.
I'll second that.
Okay, in the absence of the finance director who was designated to take minutes by the fiscal officer who indicated she was going to be late but has not shown up, we will designate our attorney, Don Frick, to take the rest of the minutes. So he will call the roll, Ms. Frick.
Mr. Kretz,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Graff.
Yes. And before we adjourn, I just want to say I got stopped at Women's League last Wednesday by a friend of mine who said that they had to call my fire department, she said, and they were so delighted with the treatment they got, and she wanted to indicate that Christine Hawker was an absolute gem. And I told her that I would make sure that we all knew about it, and I mentioned it to Lieutenant Hawker because I saw her the other night. Anything else to come before the board?
No, ma'am.
Nothing.
Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kretz,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Graff.
Yes, and the time is 4:46.